Okay.
Yeah, wasn't it nice to not work at work and just watch the game?
I was at work.
I was
people.
at work as well.
Yes. It's a Thursday night. It's weird. Eh?
Has something to do with the
I didn't read
Australian I think it's like some league.
Oh, really?
We don't know about Aussie
rules as a big final.
It might be Aussie rules, or it might be rugby league. I don't know, but
one of the sports that's bigger than rugby in Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes, see, but I'm so happy that I tuned in to watch that, because it was mind blowing.
It was like the Aussie New Zealand games of old. I almost called it a derby because
it feels like a derby game. Yeah. There was a game that they called the greatest of all time. It was. If you check, it's almost going to be the same score.
I think it's
39,
I think it
37.
Might be I think it was 37-34 or something.
Something like that. Jonah Lomu scored under the posts at one stage. They called it the greatest game.
Yeah.
In like a capacity Sydney Stadium or something. I can't remember the details, but it was labelled as one of the best games of all time.
And this one probably came close.
Less mistake ridden and stuff. It was just like end to end, and it was like back in the day, like we said the other day, that you have to score more than 34, 35 points or whatever to beat New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of game. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I thought New Zealand started well.
Started really well,
They scored a try off a mistake from the Australians off their kickoff. And got a good driving maul going and scored. And then at that stage I said to you guys, here comes a big score.
Yes, that's what I thought as well.
I thought here comes a 50-pointer.
Yeah, so we've seen it now a couple of times in the Springboks as well. If you start like that, it's the opposition is almost always going to either get close or they're going to score, and they scored like from a maul in the end. That Hooker's Tau Kaiao.
He scored some.
He scored two tries.
Yeah. But this season. I mean,
yes.
Scored against us, I think.
And there was a disallowed one as well.
Yeah.
Just before half time, he knocked on. He sort of lost it. Good work by Jake Gordon to kind of rip the ball out of his hands.
I think he's making the black jersey his own, the number 2.
Yeah.
Black jersey his own.
So it was 10-3 early on, and then there was a disallowed try by Kellaway.
Which it's such a shame, because it was like the most ridiculously. It was such a good move, such a good set move.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was that got the ball and just immediately gave it, which put Bernard Foley in so much space, and he could just give the ball to Kellaway, and he had
their wing, right wing.
Yeah, I'm not. Right.
I think it was.
Yeah, Tom Wright.
He just popped it.
He just popped it, and Foley could just time his pass, and Kellaway Rika Johanni was just too quick.
Yeah.
And I just missed it because I was streaming it, and it feels like I'm talking very fast. And I just missed it. But you said his hand was under the ball, and then they rolled him over.
So what happened is Johanni tackled him and started to turn him, and then I think the ball was in his left hand, and as he turned, he tried to put it down, and he put it down on his own hand.
Yes.
And then they pulled it out of his hand.
With that sort of thing, I always think some part of the ball must have touched the grass, but
no. Definitely.
Okay.
It was like this far short just before it touched his hand, and then it full on touched his hand, and it wasn't a try. It's such a shame, because it was such a good move.
And then already you had the feeling this is going to be a game.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought then, because we saw this throughout the first half, is the Aussies then, they made so many chances for themselves. I mean, there were another 2 chances where they came close, and then they gave away a turnover or whatever. And I thought it was going to be one of those games of missed chances for the Aussies, and probably it was in the end, isn't it?
Yes. I thought that Australia were very creative. They did a few clever things. We saw a few things that we were talking about. We're not going to talk about the Springboks, but like shifting the contact in the maul. We saw that, like sort of giving it and creating a new maul, and some nice runaround moves and things, like pre-planned things. It's almost like in order to find space, you need to do those things. And Clark had an amazing break right through the middle of the field, and that led to a yellow card, Tom Wright, which I thought was a little bit harsh. He pulled on him and then he fell on the wrong side.
Yeah, but what was he trying to do with his leg there?
Yeah. I think it's just the guy's too big. It's like he thought that's the only way to get him to the ground.
It looked bad when he did it.
Yeah, so there were a lot of yellow cards as well, which kind of stopped the momentum.
It was high. I mean, the Aussies, this could have been their first attempt to win back the Bledisloe Cup in 20 years or something. Yes. So it was always going to be like, high.
They were at that. If you look at what the score, though, the amount of points they managed to put up, there was a time when they had 2 yellow cards.
Yeah.
And then the All Blacks scored from that. I think Mahanga scored under the posts. They made it look quite easy to find space just by simple hands passing the ball and having an overlap. And then I think it was at one stage it was 30-21.
It was 31-13.
31-13, yeah.
And then the Aussies scored a try.
31-20.
And it was like game on.
And then I was like, okay.
The momentum started to shift.
Yeah, from a Springboks perspective, at least I thought, okay, they're not getting a bonus point. Because if the All Blacks got a bonus point, it would have made it very difficult for anyone else to win the competition. Because that would have put them 2 points ahead of anyone else.
I think the Aussies are now out.
Yeah.
So it's
they've lost 3.
Yeah. So it's Argentina, South Africa, and New Zealand.
Unless they beat the All Blacks next week and they get a bonus point or something like that, might change things slightly. If they beat New Zealand in New Zealand,
and then if we lose and then win the next week, that sort of thing,
Yeah, then it's almost as if everyone's lost 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened?
I don't know. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't know. Yeah, so let's just look at the game quickly. Yeah, so halftime it was really close still, and then it just started early on. They had the Mahanga try, and then there were 2 tries. Then there was another try by Will Jordan. Yeah, which was also
but he's too fast.
Yeah,
he's the fast. Like by far, must be the fastest man on the field. I think he's faster than Marika Koroibete.
And they made it look easy with the yellow cards and with all that. At that stage, I thought, okay. It's going to be bonus point. It's going to be this.
Yeah, because it was a bonus point. They were
on the bonus point. Yeah. And then 2 Kellaway tries in the 60th minute and the 66th minute. So 6 minutes apart, and the game was back on again.
Yeah.
And then a huge moment by Pete Salmo's try. Koroibete. That 72nd minute, it was Salmo scored.
Yes. Down the left
wing
there.
It was like a pass. Koroibete and Koroibete passed it back to him.
That was some good interplay between those two.
And all hell broke loose, and Dave Rennie was on his feet.
And it was full. It was full. What do you call it? Like both teams were 15.
Yes. So
that was an outrageous try.
Yes, and that made it 34 all, and then they got a penalty to make it 37-34.
Yeah, a great kick by Nick White, who we've criticised about his. Soccer dive.
Yes, great pressure kick.
Well done. That is a good kick. And it, I didn't know he was a kicker.
Yeah. It shows
you.
It
was like a 50-meter kick.
Yeah.
Like it actually drew.
Yeah.
It was like.
Yeah, it was perfect. And then anything could happen.
Yeah, but
we didn't expect, like you just mentioned. Yeah, no, I thought they had it. The All Blacks were on the attack, and then there was I think there will be. Look, we were neutrals. I know we're going to talk about Raniel at all. We have to mention the last call in the game, and if he could have done that any differently.
Yeah.
So there was a penalty, and according to what I understood, he said time off, and then after the time off, he said Foley has to kick it out. He said kick it out now.
Yeah.
And if you watch the replays, I think it's Jordan Pataya or somebody in the centre was screaming at Foley and said, "Kick it, kick it, kick it, kick it!" And then he was telling people to get behind him and all sorts of things. And Raniel gave a scrum to New Zealand.
Yeah, and then it was kind of it just felt inevitable. It was like New Zealand didn't score.
So what do you think? Do you think would there have been an outcry if he just said just kick it right? Well, he did tell him to kick it.
He did, but it's just funny because when you get a penalty and you decide to kick at posts, no one's really rushing you then.
No.
You know,
it's a call that the Australians and that we've said that I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah,
like at a penalty, time wasting. and scrum to the opposition.
Because how much time did he waste?
No, I don't know. It's not something that you see,
Yeah.
and it's such a massive moment. It's a match
But just kick the ball,
losing
man.
moment, but as well, just kick it.
Yeah,
But it seems like something that the Springboks might also do.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that you might
maybe.
see as
Although
well.
when I watch, then I feel like it doesn't matter how long they wait. It feels like they kicked it immediately.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So I think if you're an Aussie fan, you're going to be like, yes, but I mean, there was no time. And if you're a New Zealand fan, you're going to be like, that was like half
Most
the game. He
fly-offs-
was just standing there with the ball, like
Yeah,
you know?
most fly-offs just want to get on with the game and they kick it out. And there was a minute and a half left, and it's obvious that Foley probably wanted to waste a bit of time. And it's his first game back after 3 years, and the whole of Australia is going to hate him.
They're just going to hate him because he lost them the game.
He lost them the game.
I don't know. There's nothing else to say about it.
So then there was a scrum to New
It's
Zealand. They
kind
won
of-
the ball. They didn't
they
even have
scored.
to work it through a lot of phases. They created an overlap on the
They were
right-hand
too
side,
close. Yeah.
and Geordie Barrett scored.
But we were saying it kind of reminded us of 2014 when it was like the 78th and a half minute
Yeah.
that Monastein just had to kick the ball out
Out.
because it's our penalty,
Yes.
and then we win the game in Australia. And then he doesn't kick it out, and
Yeah.
no one will forget that. Everyone
Took me a
remembers
very
that time.
long
He got
time.
dropped by Henneke Meyer, basically
Yeah.
fell out of favour, and
Yeah.
Andre Pollard was the favourite after that. So now Bernard Foley is like
Yeah.
obviously coming to the end of his career. How's that going to affect him? How's it? Yeah.
And he didn't have a terrible game before that
Yeah.
moment.
I thought
He was
all
okay.
the Aussies, they played pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were. They were quite good. Yeah. So just, I really feel I feel sorry for Australia. I feel sorry for the fact that they didn't give us a better
Yeah,
opportunity as Springbok fans to have a better chance of winning the competition.
Yeah.
So now it's going to
'Cause-
come down to other things happening, points difference and bonus points and this and that.
I think we kind of we assume that New Zealand's going to win next week. We kind of just always assume that just because it's a home game for them.
Yeah.
But
Look,
yeah.
it's not great for New Zealand to come that close, but it shows a lot of character to win the game in the
Yeah,
end.
I mean,
but
they
it's
did
a
it
bit
to-
of luck.
They did it to us as well. I mean,
Yeah.
at Ellis Park, it was the 73rd minute,
We
and
got
we
back.
were leading, and then they scored 2 tries.
And that's what
on
New
the end.
Zealand do, and that's what's so infuriating.
No,
But what a rugby match, and what
what a game, and well done Australia.
yeah,
Commiserations, you know.
yeah.
But you played so well, and
Great,
well done New
brilliant
Zealand.
game. Yeah, and well done New Zealand. Well done for putting on a great show for neutrals
Yeah.
to watch. And we spoke about it briefly. I don't know. Does this mean that Southern Hemisphere rugby
Do we suck?
is on a down?
Or is
that
it
all
like-
the games are so close? That no one's actually dominating, or I don't know. We'll only know when we go to Europe
Yeah.
where we are.
Yeah.
Really.
So
Okay.
November's going to be the time. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll talk about
Great
that later.
game. Great game of
Cheers.
rugby. Cheers.